Yo, what up, what up, what up? Episode 12 on my ex. We are back again. We had one of the sickest episodes ever last week. Probably, I think it's our most viewed episode at this point. We had APG on. So we're just continuing that momentum. Shout out to everyone who tuned in, checked out the podcast last week and every week prior. I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. I'm joined by my boys, my fellow Halo lovers, and just the homies. I got, first of all, with me, Wes Price, the national champ himself. Clutch, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's up, people? Appreciate you, like Hunter said, watching last week's episode. Saw it got over like 1,000 views, which is pretty cool. Still feels so like new that we're starting this up, but the fact that we've already gotten 1,000 of you to watch it's pretty awesome, and we hope that you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah, and Wes, I don't know about you, but I felt like that football game we just watched was probably the best game of the year by far. Insanity. So
what are you doing, Russ? I just had Tyler Lockett drop 53 points on my forehead. So I'm not too happy about it, but it's your typical Seahawks game, right? They do not play normal football.
Typical Captain Clutch luck.
Every single one of their games literally is like the biggest mess of all time. Like they are never in a normal game. They're always in overtime. They're always within 3 points, and they always like something weird and controversial always happens with them. I'm done with the Seahawks. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, if you got them in your fantasy, you never know what you're going to get. So shout out to Wes having a little bit of a rough afternoon. Also, too, joining me, I got Faisal Khan. He's with us every single week. My brother Goofy. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Excited to be back for episode 12. I had a good week. Nothing too crazy, just between working and streaming and doing the commentary. We did the On My Ex broadcast yesterday for the Halo 5 Pro Series. So we'll get into that a little bit. That was really fun. And aside from just hanging out and getting caught up with all my errands, just pretty standard week so far.
Yeah, shout out to you guys obviously taking care of that broadcast. I totally forgot I had a wedding to be at, and I kind of let you guys know last minute, but Wes jumped in, stepped up, ran the show, and I was tuning in here and there, and you guys were killing it, man. So thank you guys for obviously taking care of that. And if you guys haven't seen it already, we're going to link the Twitch in the description below. Be sure to follow that channel as well for some of those live broadcasts we've been doing. But with that being said, Faisal, why don't you intro our next topic?
Yes, everybody. We have so far in back-to-back episodes, we've had two amazing guests. Episode 10, we had Frosty. Episode 11, we had APG. And now for episode 12, we are bringing you another very special guest. You guys know him in the Halo community as Spartan The Dogg. Tyler, my man, how you doing?
Doing right, Faisal. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We just saw you guys, your new team specifically for Halo 5. We'll get into more specific. We'll get into questions, breaking that down later. But you announced recently on Twitter that although you will be sticking with your roster of King Nick, Rain, and RyaNoob going into Infinite, for the remainder of Halo 5, you're going to be playing with Flyers, which is commonly Straight Sick and Super CC Evade. So tell us about how that tournament went today and what made you kind of pick these guys to continue playing Halo 5 with.
So I mean, my normal team, like you said, King Nick, Rain, Ryan, they just don't enjoy Halo 5 that much, and to be honest, I really don't blame them. Going from PC to console was a drag, quite literally. My aim drags.
Dude,
so
it's tough.
So, I don't blame him. Nick really hated it. Ryan really hates it. Tim was like very on the fence about it, but like, none of them really grinded like I did. And like I said, I don't blame them. So that being said, like in the pro, like the first open tournament, we got like 4th. The next pro tournament, we got 5th through 8th. We lost like game 5 to Cloud9. And then yesterday we just played super poor and we got owned. And then after that, everyone on the team was kind of just like, yeah, I don't want to play Halo 5. And so I was like, I don't really blame you guys. I'll just, find a pickup team. And then, so then Hammy hit me up. Trippy had just subbed for them for the day. They got like top 8 in the tournament yesterday. So Hammy hit me up and I was like, yeah, I'll play with you guys. Cause I mean, I've teamed with Hammy quite a few times and I love playing with him. And I teamed with Corey once. I never played with Chase before today. So yeah, I kind of figured I would play with them. They did secure a spot in the next 10K, which is obviously a nice opportunity for myself to play in. don't even know if it's like
It's
double
the
elim.
championship. Yeah, it's like the championship. I don't know what the
I don't
format
know
is.
if it's. I don't know what a form. I don't have a clue. I just know
It's one of the bigger prize pool ones.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But so I figured, I'd play with them. They've all been grinding the game, just like I have. So I'd probably fit in pretty well.
It's a pretty
Nice.
quick turnaround from not qualifying to, the next day you're on a team that's made it into the championship. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Definitely made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. So Tyler, was it hard or was it a weird conversation after, like you said, your team kind of played poorly the last time you guys played, and afterwards you had a conversation like, hey, we're just not into this? Was that, but you guys obviously are sticking together going to Infinite. So was that decision or that conversation kind of hard or weird or at all? Or was it kind of just like, all right, like I get it, and y'all were just cool with each other, you get it, and that's it?
Yeah. Now, like Ryan was a little upset that we lost, and then Nick quite literally was like, I freaking hate this game. Like, get me off this game. And
yeah,
so,
you guys are pretty
and I
blunt
was
about
just,
that.
and like Ryan's like, so what do you guys want to do? And I was like, honestly, by the way, it sounds like, and how, by the way, it's been sounding like you guys really don't want to play this game. And like, I don't blame you. I'm not going to ask you to. If you don't want to play the game, don't play the game. You guys, they quite literally, all of them sounded miserable. I was very miserable at first, but once I started beaming again, I was fine. So that being said, I was like, I'll just play with the pickup squad for Halo 5. It's no big deal. Obviously, like that doesn't change anything for Infinite. And everybody was all good with it. Everyone's fine. So it wasn't really a hard conversation. It was probably the same conversation that Eco had with his Halo 5 team, when they played Halo 3, and the same thing kind of happened to them that happened to me.
Exactly.
Their team didn't do too well in Halo 3, and then the three of them just stopped playing, and then Kevin just played with it, with you. I think it was Faisal.
Yeah.
You Gilk and Joey. Yeah. So it's like the same situation. It's like, totally. I don't blame them, and it's easy.
Yeah. And it's yeah, go ahead, Wes. I was going to say, I'm not even a question, but I was just going to say, it's so like the state that Halo is in right now. Like it's such an anomaly. It's never really been at this state for so long with so much uncertainty. So, I mean, just like Tyler saying how his team, they're on the same page as far as, hey, let's just do our own thing right now and figure it out until something more concrete's ahead of us. And we've seen that with players like Eco and now Spartan and all these big, top players. So it's just strange and then kind of different, the state of Halo that we're in right now.
Yeah, it feels like almost we're back to like Halo 4 days in a sense.
The AGL days.
When Halo 4 came around is like when I stopped.
That's where Spartan the Dogg was created.
So
he was born in AGL.
It's definitely an interesting time where people probably feel more free to like be relaxed with like how often their teammates are competing with other people, and I guess like all of that like mentally, you kind of got to take a back seat on, because it's like when I was a player, I would think like, if my team plays without me and then they do really well or something, or they do really poorly, like the mentality of like what your position on that team is like immediately increased or decreased depending on performances and whatnot. So it's like, I think with the instability and like with the different games, it kind of creates an ecosystem that allows like I get more flexibility and to just be like, just be happy and enjoy the off season in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do want to talk mainly about the team for Infinite, though. I'm not really too concerned with the Halo 5 stuff. I know that's for fun. That's you'll place what you place. You'll have fun with those guys. You'll upset whoever, whatever happens. This Infinite roster, though, I always find myself rooting for these guys and yourself when you were in the Reach tournaments, when you're in the
H2A,
like all of those tournaments, the Halo 3 ones, like I always just want you guys to create that big upset. And I really think that they all are one of the few teams that might be outside of the top 4 in my opinion, but it's like any given day, any given series, like anybody in the top 4, I think you guys can beat if you're playing well enough. You kind of remind me of like a Believe the Hype back in the day to that extent.
High praise.
So like that is high praise. So I want you to like break down like the individuals on your team and why they're so important, and I guess just your overall excitement for this roster moving forward.
Yeah, so I kind of like I'll agree with you in terms of the like. So I mean, if I'm being honest, like no rosters outside of like the the top. So I mean, you have your Sentinels, you have your Cloud9, you have Envy, and then you have like Jesse's team, which he hasn't fully announced, and so I'm not gonna get into that.
Mhm.
But that Boo Boo, so like whatever his team ends up being, and then like our team, like you look at like our 5 rosters, and like you could place us as like 5th or whatever you want to place us. But like
I think 3rd, 4th, and 5th is like, or even 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th is almost arbitrary because it's like whoever's playing good. Even first at this point, because we've seen Sentinels lose like so often this year.
But you got to give that nod to Sentinels, even just because of consistency.
They're always going to be the team to beat. So like you look at like our 5, you look at those like 5 rosters, and like those 5 rosters going into Infinite. Obviously, like maybe some of us, like maybe some rosters won't be good. So maybe all of us will be, like, we don't know obviously until the game comes out. But like those 5 rosters are like the rosters going into Halo Infinite. Like every other roster is like they don't exist really. I mean, you have like crowd pleasers. You have like crowd pleasers maybe, and then you have like that Druk team that just announced. But like. I can't even think of, Kansas City, I guess, Pioneers. Like outside of like those like 7 rosters, there's really no like rosters that are just, I don't know, I mean, probably to mostly anybody that are really existent. So, so like when I chose this roster after I ended up getting dropped by my team. They hit me up, and so I obviously knew how good they were at Reach. They're like all 3 of these players are really good at classic Halos. Tim was really good at Halo 5. Ryan always kind of struggled, and Nick didn't really like play Halo 5 like that. He like played free for all, but he never played 4s, and he
was always playing on Sunday in the finals of the free for all.
And he didn't like play 4s at like a high level. So like, but like when it comes to like Reach and like H2A, Halo 3, they were all super good at those games. And like they're like, so like with Nick, he's the youngest player on the team. He's really like, he's got a lot of individual skill. Kind of like reminds me of like myself when I was coming up. Like literally just raw skill was like my trait until I actually became like a more refined player. And he's easily like moldable. Ryan's obviously super intelligent when it comes to like playing Halo in like very methodical ways, and like and kind of like picking like he's a nitpicky player, but like in a good way. Like, you know, we'll go back to theater or something, and he'll point like a bunch of things out, like just things that you can improve on, and like that's like really important.
That's
and
the
then
teammate
like
you want.
and then you have Tim. Like Tim is probably one of the best communicators in like all of Halo. Like, so
agreed.
Like when Tim is like very confident in his comms and he's just leading everything, like I don't even have to talk. I don't even have to say anything. I can literally just do what I want to do and just go kill everything. And that's the reason that they wanted me, is because of like my slaying power for this roster specifically. They just wanted me to just go and kill everything. So like when they get into their flow of their comms and I can just walk around and shoot everything on the map, it goes really well. And I think we saw a lot of that like in Halo 3. I mean, obviously I had my opinion on Halo 3, but I still like, obviously we still performed really well.
What's your opinion of Halo 3, Tyler? Go ahead.
Dude, okay. So first of all,
how about that patch though?
I freaking I was gonna get to that. I freaking hated Halo 3 when we went back to it. Like, everybody knows. I made it pretty obvious for multiple times, but I'm not gonna lie. Like that one tournament that I played on the patch was actually super fun. I really enjoyed it. I wish we had been. Yeah, it was me, you, Tim, and Ryan.
Yeah,
I think we lost like game 5.
We lost in game 5 to Falcated's team, or no, was it Frosty's team?
It was Frosty, Foul, Boo Boo.
Oh, you're right.
We lost game 5 So
I was so mad, bro. I was so
my boy Tuss did it to you.
He did.
We were good though, and I could tell you had fun. Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun, and I wish we had been playing that patch the whole time, because I honestly probably wouldn't have been. Like my jet, like, I mean, I played Halo 3 back in the day. I loved it, but I just never liked MCC Halo 3, and it's the reason why I quit Halo for a year. After Halo 5 ended, obviously the whole community shifted over to Halo 3 MCC, and I literally quit because I just didn't want to play it. So when we had to go back to it again, I was very, very just not happy about it at all. But like I have to give props to the MCC team for putting out that patch because the game plays really well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I wanted to jump in. Obviously, I got a couple things on my mind. First and foremost, Wes, I got to give a shout out to you. Last 2 weeks, you brought on the guest. You got APG, you got Frosty, using that national champion clout to bring us high tier guests to the show. But this week, I really wanted to go out of my way to bring one of my boys on, right? So Tyler, you've been a good friend of mine for a long time. One of my favorite teammates I've ever had.
friends with Tyler too.
Yeah. No. But so and a lot of people they see the Twitter Spartan, but I wanted folks to get a chance to see Spartan behind the curtain, the real Tyler, to get to know you and see your heart for stuff. You're one of 4 current reigning LAN champions. I mean, you're the last. You guys are the last team to win a LAN at DreamHack Anaheim before COVID and everything hit. And so I guess my first question would be, with Sentinels, re-engaging in Halo now, and Envy and Cloud9, I think you nailed it when you said there's about 5 rosters right now that are the teams to beat, the teams to have. The other ones, they're good. They got a lot of talent, but a lot of those guys I feel like haven't done it multiple Halo. They haven't done it in multiple play Halos yet, right? So we don't know yet we don't know if they're to stay or if it was like a Halo 5 thing or whatever. So we'll wait and see. But as far as I'm concerned, you guys, Magnanimous and that Inconceivable roster, are basically the last 2 big teams left on the market. I don't know what Jesse and those guys' plans are org-wise. Is there a sense now that checks are being signed and whatnot? Like, is there a worry for you? Do you feel like worried about being left out in terms of like, with these big orgs? Like, is there a desire, like where's your kind of head at with all the things that are going on the business side of Halo right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily worried, right? It's more so the fact that it's frustrating. Let me bounce back to August real quick when the Inconceivable roster was still available. Like, I literally had, I'm not gonna say what the org was or anything like that, but I literally had my lawyer go through the contract that they sent us, and we sent it back. We went over it. We got it all set and done. We literally had the DocuSign. And then then APG calls me and says he's dropped. And so I'm just like, well, it's 3 a.m, by the way. Brad calls me, hey, I just got dropped. Do you guys have a spot on your team? And I'm thinking like, well, I don't know, man. We just want a tournament. Like, I don't know how I feel about making a change, but I mean, I'll talk to Jesse and Mike. And so I get into a Discord call with Jesse and Mike, and they're like, it's APG. We got to do it. So
I've had the exact same conversation.
Yeah, so we dropped Aaron for Brad, and this org is still okay with it. And then so like we get the draft, like we just get his contract redrafted with his name in it. Org's like, all right, it's all sent, sign him, and we're good to go. And then like few hours go by and Brad's like, yo, I'm joining Envy. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm just like, I was just like, God damn it, Brad. That pissed me off to no end. So then like, whatever, I mean, congrats to him and that team, like I was pissed for like a couple of weeks, but I'm fine now. I don't really care. So then I'm still on the roster with Mike and Jesse, and I can't say who the 4th was. And I can't say what because so that basically that org that we had with Brad, it backed out. They're like, we're done. We're waiting till the game comes out.
Oh my God, that's great. I would be
so
that at that point it's messing with your financial stability.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not just like, oh, that sucks, my team's not as good. Now it's like, okay, it affected my financial standing right now. So that's annoying.
It definitely hurt when they were like, we're just gonna wait till the game comes out. And I was like, I understand. Like we literally just had a team and we had a team change and they were still good with it. And then that happens. They're like, nah. It just looks bad. So
it looks non-professional.
Then sure. me, Mike, and Jesse, we get a new 4th. We have another org ready to go, basically. And then I don't know, like I don't know what happened. I still don't understand the move to this day. But I ended up getting dropped. I found out from somebody else on another team without my teammates even telling me.
That's usually how it goes down.
Like I said, I won't understand this change. It doesn't make sense to me to any capacity. But so that being said, I ended up on this team, and like we've been shopping around for orgs a little bit. We just kind of started because a lot of the orgs that were interested in Halo, the moment its delay got announced, they kind of all were like, all right, we're gonna wait a few months, and a lot of orgs are waiting until next year. So, but we have like I'm not gonna go and blurt out who, but there are like a few orgs that are still interested, mostly because of the fact, to go back to what you said, Justin, how our team and Boo Boo's team are the last two teams like that all like that every player has proved that they can play any Halo basically.
You guys are gonna be around.
So a couple of orgs definitely, you know, are picking up on that, and like we've kind of sold the point that, you know, like if you want a good roster and want to be taken serious in Infinite, then, you know, we're a roster lockdown. So we've been talking to a few, so I'm not really worried. But it's definitely been it's been madness.
Up and down, man. Yeah, up and down.
It's been crazy. Wild.
That business side of things is just it's its own world, man. And it's crazy because we got to talk to obviously APG last week, so we got to see his side, but now hearing like what that ripple effect, how that affected you guys. And go ahead, Faisal.
Yeah, so just because hearing your answer on that breakdown, Tyler, and kind of saying how you're still to this day not sure why, or you know why that change happened essentially. How did it? I don't know if you want to or not. It's up to you, obviously. But can you go into the details of how you said you found out from someone else? Did you officially have a conversation with Falcated and Boo Boo? Like in hindsight, do you wish? Oh, I won't even ask that because there's no point. But I was gonna say, do you wish like APG had never even hit you up in the first place, and you guys were just kind of like, because you had an org ready to go at that point, or you know, does that ever cross your mind?
So I definitely like kind of thought about that. Like if Brad never hit us up, like would that team still be a thing? I don't know. You know, me and a couple of other players have actually talked about it. Like Eco is like, dude, if you guys didn't do that, you'd probably just still be a team.
Because you were going to sign the org, right? No, you were going to sign that. Probably you said the next day. It sounded like.
Yeah. We literally had the contracts like in our inbox.
Yeah, and once you signed it,
we just had to sign them. So
yeah,
doesn't get closer than that.
Yeah, if Brad like never hit us up, or if we just said no, like we might still be a team. I really don't know. As for the conversation that we had when they dropped me, it was not a pleasant one. I definitely kind of ripped into Mikey a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because like I said, first of all, the change doesn't make sense to me. Like who I got dropped for, it doesn't make sense. I'll say that right now. He's not a, and I'm not. That's not a hit as his skill, but like he's literally never been to a tournament. That's all. Yeah,
we all know. We all know you're talking about.
So like that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. He's a great player. I always thought he was, but throughout Halo 5, but he's never been to a tournament. Like
and you're a champ. You're a current champ.
I've been to how many, and I've since April of 2015, I've literally never placed outside the top 8.
It's pretty shocking to me how much success you guys had over the past year, and how you guys
y'all were a good trio.
You guys were nasty. Even with Aaron, you guys were nasty.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Like, even with Aaron,
I mean, like you didn't win every tournament, but it felt like you were in every tournament. Like it felt like
finals
you guys played
for a run. Yeah,
finals. I was like I'm pretty shocked to like you guys kind of let that team fall apart. I know a lot of it was out of your control from the sound of it, and you're always looking to improve. You're always looking to
and that's the thing.
And picking your moments are so hard throughout your Halo career. I remember like. When we got third on BTH, we thought we were getting like we picked up Soviet for the next event. And it was like, holy crap! Like we get to team with like Soviet, this main Slayer at the time, and then we team with him. And I'm like, honestly, this guy's not as good as like.
Can I get my old team back?
Cypher, what are you doing? But it's like picking and choosing those like players to like improve your team, but not like mess up the chemistry or mess up what you have going. That's such a tough decision, like in the moment too. So it's like,
yeah, and hindsight's always 20/20. But at the end of the day, when somebody at the caliber of APG or any for that matter,
APG calls, you pick up.
Yeah, and for that matter, there's a handful of Halo players that they're such great players and they have such a great track record. When they call you and they literally saying, "Hey, let's make a team," it's like I said, hindsight's 2020, but in the moment, it's hard not to. Yeah, you're gonna have that conversation, and obviously, Spartan, you had that with Falcon and Boo Boo, knowing that them two are kind of like the core of the team, and APG came to you, so you went over to them and brought that offer. And it's unfortunate how it all went down. Obviously, with APG's interview last week, we kind of heard the details from his side of things, but hearing it from you and kind of it's like you guys had the org ready with Aaron, and then you take a risk by telling the org, hey, I know it's last minute, but we're going to bring on this person. And then he comes on and then he leaves. And then that leaves you in a position without that org. And ultimately you end up getting replaced on the team. So it was kind of a crazy snowball effect. And you were saying that you kind of went off on Mike, which is falcated. How did that conversation kind of go? I mean, I'm interested.
So I don't want to get like into the nitty gritty too much, but I was basically, first of all, I was just unbelievably shocked that not only did I find out from somebody on another team, I like when I found out who it was for, I was literally just mind blown. Like I still can't wrap my head around it. I really can't.
I remember you were texting me. You're like, bro, I just got dropped for. Can you believe this? Like the rage text comes out. I was like, what the heck?
It just blew my mind. And like I said, and that's not a hit at him because I think he's a very talented individual, and I think he's definitely going to be something in Infinite. But there's no proof. There's no cold hard evidence behind it. So the move to me doesn't make sense. Okay. But you could go. You go.
I have a great follow up that I want to know the answer to, but I'll let you finish up.
But so basically what happened was I was in a call. I saw Neptune tweeted something and I like responded to it, and then I DM'd him and he's like, yo, so I'm gonna just tell you you're getting dropped. And I was like, what?
Jeez.
And then so I ended up getting in a call with him and at his team at the time, and basically Neptune was telling me that like basically, I mean, and I don't know how much of it is true or not true, but like I had heard that Mikey and Jesse were talking shit behind my back for a while, and these are two people that I think are my bet. Like I've been teaming with them for almost a year, and like they're like two of my best friends.
Shit, you won a tournament with them? They're brothers after that.
They're like
I'm right. You won the LAN event. Did you guys win that?
We won the LAN. I think we got top two twice in H2A, and we honestly should have went to game 5. Should have, could have, would have, but we should have went to game 5 with Sentinels. One of them, we just like choked at game 1 or something. But I mean, like I thought that like two people that I like literally held dear to me, and like I always looked out for, and like a lot of people don't know what I did for those two, like on a personal level, and also like just shit for our team, like me like being the businessman of the team to making sure everybody's taken care of, a lot of other stuff behind the scenes that I cannot talk about on camera. But like two people that I think are my best friends, and they just like stab me in the back, and I'm hearing that they're talking shit about me. Like, so yeah, I went off on Mike a little bit. I was like, if you don't like me, man, just tell me to my face. Don't be two-faced about it. But that's the gist of the message. There was a lot more to it. Yeah. So I hold a bit of a grudge, and I'm telling you right now, I'm looking forward to playing them in Infinite.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm just gonna follow up with. Like, I was gonna say a Spartan. Wes, I'm gonna let you go, but a Spartan with a chip on his shoulder, that's a scary sight for the competition.
So here we are. The situation we're in right now is all of these different relationships just got affected throughout this entire process. You have to have a chip on your shoulder because APG left you, and that's kind of disrespectful for what you reached out and did for him as a team, and then he decides to not choose you guys. So there's a little bit of a chip there. There's a chip obviously with Boo Boo and Foul. I feel like there's chips on your shoulder for several different reasons. The team you landed on is capable of winning. When Infinite releases, I have no doubt that you guys will be in the top 5. You will be continuously capable of winning if you play at a high level. If you are going to win the first tournament in Halo Infinite, who do you want to beat and why? Like, who would it mean the most to beat at this point? Is it someone like Sentinels because they're number 1? Or is it one of them that you like personally just want that leg up on in the finals?
In a finals, I'd probably want to beat. I would want to beat Sentinels, mostly just because of what they have behind them, and beating them they're just the team to beat no matter what. So like beating them would mean the most in a final. But
So if we have to play winners semis to get to winners finals to play finals.
I was breaking it down.
Yeah. No,
who do you want to be?
I want to be screaming at Falcated. I want
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Screaming at him. I'm
love
telling you right now, Mikey, you're gonna
passionate.
break down the next time I play you. You're gonna have a breakdown.
My favorite thing about you is that you're a passionate player, and you do some stuff that I would do back in the day, in between games after the series.
Spartan's the last of a dying breed.
Absolutely.
I love every second of every opportunity you get.
The emotion is what I love to see.
It's the natives. It's there's
the
so
Roys.
The Roys and lunches, they used to get after it. But it's squared.
Squared, yeah.
Squared would go pretty wild. That Carbon team back in 08 went wild.
Yeah, Carbon was notorious. Gone.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's the last of a dying breed, and it is so refreshing to see all of that frustration, all of that doubt, all of that the chip on your shoulder literally gets removed when you stand up and you yell. And you saw it when you won the tournament. You've seen it throughout your career in different series, and I think you have a lot of opportunity here for just more excitement and entertainment from broadcasters.
I think it's good for the scene. Yeah.
I think that's amazing for the show.
Yeah, it's so good for the scene. I think that there's some new Spartan fans right now that see this, hear this story, and now they're gonna be rooting for you. Man, I want to see this guy get his revenge. Spartan Revenge Tour is coming through in Halo Infinite. We're all stoked for it. We talk about emotion, we talk about pop-offs. I think one of the most notorious ones in recent memory was that moment where I thought you and Ryan were literally gonna go to blows on main stage.
How do we not talk about this yet?
We gotta talk about this, man, because it's the biggest anime redemption arc in history of Halo Twitter right now. So can you walk me through that, how that all transpired, and then how you go from that to where you are now?
So I mean, honestly, I can't even tell you how the whole rivalry between Ryan and I came about. I think I just had some sort of bitter taste in my I don't know. A lot of people don't remember going into Halo 5, all the teams that kind of formed before the game actually dropped. So after Halo 5, I was not at the end, or no, at Halo 2 Anniversary, excuse me. At the end of Halo 2 Anniversary, I was on a team with Ninja, Shooter, and Ares. And then me, Ares, and Shooter all got dropped. For Ninja just kept they just kept Ninja, Liquid kept Ninja, and then the three of us were free agents or whatever. And so me and Shooter went to Winter Fox with Arcanum and Ryan. And then the game came out, and we were all grinding together, and quite frankly, I thought they all sucked. I just did not they didn't get Halo 5 at all.
It was very different in the beginning. It was a big adjustment.
Dude, it was way different than H2A, obviously. Yeah. And so we were scrimming and we were playing in these tournaments. We were getting railed, absolutely just freaking railed. And I would try to explain, dude, we have sprint, we have thrust slide, we need to move. We can't just stand still. And all three of them at the beginning of Halo 5, granted, obviously Shooter got way better, and ended up winning a tournament. And Ryan eventually, Arcanum fell off. He just after regionals 2016,
Ryan and Shooter got pretty solid.
He died off, but Ryan eventually got way better, and Sandy got way better too. But at the beginning of Halo 5, it was just bad. And so Ryan and I, he doesn't remember it. We actually had a conversation recently about it, but he doesn't remember that we used to get into arguments, and they all three were really good friends, and I was the odd man out. So I ended up getting dropped from that team. Thank God. But I think I just had some form of bitter taste in my mouth from Ryan, and every time I played him after that, I would just scream at him, and just that was it. And then it just became this form of rivalry. And then
he's that perfect person to do it back to you.
Yeah, he's something about Ryan can definitely rub you the wrong way, especially as an ex-teammate and as a competitor. He's definitely someone you would want to beat.
Having been someone that yelled at Ryan when we competed against each other, I can acknowledge why you would do that. Ryan is definitely somebody I was if I destroy you, you have to hear about it. Other players, I'll just let it go, but Ryan, no.
So once you came full circle and you started teaming with him, did y'all ever have that joking conversation about it? Did it ever come up?
We've joked about it a couple of times. Tim's posted meme pictures of the moment where Ryan beat me at I think it was New Orleans. Like it's
He was
been
feeling
honestly
himself a little too much. Like, Ryan, relax.
Ryan was. He's flexing.
God, dog.
It was kind of, I mean, like looking back on it, it was kind of funny. And I looked back on it after that tournament. After that tournament, when I lost to him is like when I let it all go. Cause like we played them again the next tournament and we won, but it was off stream. But there wasn't any like hostility. Like nobody knows this. Not a lot of people know this. I think I did mention it on Twitter, but it didn't really get around too much. Like before we played him at London, his mom walked up to me and told me I was about to lose. What? Like Ryan's mom walked up. Ryan's mom walked up to me and she was like, "You're Spartan, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "My son's about to kick your ass." And I was like, "Oh my God,
no way!"
Who won the series? Who won the series?
We won 3-0. It was in London. It was me, L-Town, Savinator, and Falcated. And
it's the mom curse, bro. It's the mom curse.
I think it was like Ryan, Shooter. I think it was the same team that beat us the event before. I think it was like Ryan, Shooter, Musa, and Rain. I think that was it.
Was it Dastroid? I feel like Dastroid was in the mix.
Dastroid was on straight, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
That's crazy.
I respect the mom. That's the kind of parent I'm going to be.
To go from all that to then teaming, was it pretty much just an easy jump in and land on that team? Or was there some conversation that needed to be had, or?
Not really. It was a pretty easy jump. I think Tim was the one who reached out to me, DM'd me personally. He's like, "Yo, like we really want you on the team. Like you're the Slayer we needed," and like that kind of stuff. And then I got added to a group chat, and I was like, "All right, when are we starting to play?" And then we started to play like the next day. It was during the Halo 3 season, I think. I think it was like right before the first Halo 3 tournament. Like I think it was like a couple of days before, and we just hopped on. Yeah, we just started grinding. And
well, I think it speaks to the confidence they had in you that they dropped you. I mean, that they picked you up when they did, because at the time it was Halo 3 that was in the Pro Series, and they had Gilk, and in a lot of our opinions, Gilk is probably a top 3, top 5 player right now, in that game. And so them making a move for you says that obviously they're looking long term, and they have that faith and that trust that you're gonna make it happen in Infinite. So I think it says a lot that they got rid of their Halo 3 advantage for the long term advantage with picking you up.
I was shocked when I heard that.
That was essentially what they did. They even basically said the same thing. They were like, we want you on our team for Infinite, and like we're gonna start grinding with Halo 3. So they put me on the team right then and there. And
that's a business move, is what you call that,
long term.
I was shocked because I thought that like Gilkey was going to give them a lot of potential for Halo 3. Because Gilk is just he's insane.
As much as I shit talk Gilk, and it's all banter. I hope he doesn't take it too serious, but he probably does. But as he's a very, very talented Halo 3 player.
Absolutely.
But I gotta throw some more banter in there. Since they picked me up, I played Gilk 3 times and didn't lose. I beat him every time.
That feels good, then, right?
That's probably why he negatively responds to whatever banter you have, because like not only did he get dropped for you, but he hasn't beat you in the 3 times that he's played.
Yeah, I think people gotta like take a step back and think about who I am as a person, and then like kind of like relate that to what I like, what my banter is, because a lot of times I'm just talking shit to talk shit. No, don't get me wrong. I do say some stuff and I do make it a little bit personal, but it's usually with people I have a problem with.
Okay.
If I don't have a problem with you, then odds are I'm just talking shit to talk shit. And like this is the best example I can give. I'm teaming with Hammy right now just for Halo 5, right? Hammy's like one of my longtime friends. We've teamed a couple of times. I think of him like a duo. Like we came up together in Halo 5, but like in the beginning of Halo 5, when he left our Renegades roster to go to EG, I told him literally the moment but right before he left the call, I was like, Hammy, good luck on EG, but you better hope you don't play us. And the very first time he played us was at Worlds, and we beat them game 5 and upset them. And I was screaming across the stage, Hammy, you're getting dropped. I was like, you're getting dropped. And like, obviously, I'm still great friends with him. Like, it's just banter. People
series
can't take it too personal.
That series was career changing for all of that EG. roster. That game 5. If they win that, then they don't play Tox first round, or they don't play CLG first round of bracket play, and they probably get top 4, probably top 3, like depending on how the bracket goes, whatever. That's all speculation.
Most people thought they were the second best team there, right? We pretty much were expecting them to be in the finals.
They probably make enough money to convince themselves to continue to play at a high level, and Rolling Ones could still be in the scene. But and I'm not saying like that one series is why they don't play, but like it definitely took a lot of.
That was the nail in the the nail in the coffin, but the coffin wasn't quite closed yet.
And CLG re-nailed that thing for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Faisal. I know you want to say something.
No, yeah, my questions are basically just around your new team and going into Infinite as well. So, I guess we could just talk about Infinite itself. I guess we can. I want to hear your thoughts on how you were feeling when you found out that the game got delayed, and obviously, that the discrepancies that caused with organizations being interested in Halo, and like the pool of orgs to pick from maybe got smaller. So what are your thoughts on Halo Infinite being moved, and the general, I guess, theme of the move is, you got half the people saying, hey, I would rather, have a fully functioning great game and have it delayed some. And then you have the other half of the people saying, hey, you've already had so much time. Why do we need to delay it more if you've already had so much time to make the game, right? So kind of talk about your thoughts on Infinite and it being delayed and kind of what it's done and the ripple effects that it's had.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I see both sides of the fence where they have had quite a bit of freaking time, and with the amount of time that they've had, you would think that they'd have more to show us, and you would think I'm gonna be nice.
Hey, be yourself. Ignore the fact that I'm here. I'm not gonna make any comments.
I really want Infinite to succeed, but it is kind of some sort of sick, twisted joke. Hold on one second.
Hey, we're in a podcast.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. All right, intermission, man. We're just waiting for Spartan The Dogg to come back. How y'all doing?
Nothing.
He's back.
I'm good. Oh, he's back quick.
My girlfriend peeked her head in the door, and she forgot a towel for the shower. So
Spartan to the rescue.
That checks out.
So. It's some form of sick, twisted joke, but at the same time, I do get it. Obviously, COVID put a wrench in not just the gaming industry, but just quite the whole world, Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, it does make a little bit of sense. And if the game just wasn't ready, then a delay is needed. We don't want some form of unfinished. We don't want an MCC. Though I'm telling you, we don't need that. The MCC launch was quite possibly the worst video game launch in the history of all video games.
It's up there.
So we didn't need another one of those. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize, is that if the game just isn't ready, then it needs to be delayed, because it needs to have with how up and down the Halo community has been in the last freaking how many years, it needs to be flawless for not only an esports success, but just the game's natural success. And obviously free to play multiplayer is huge.
That's huge.
Being on PC and being cross-plat is huge. So I mean, there's obviously a lot of great things to look forward to. It being delayed, I mean, as you guys heard before, it threw a wrench in a lot of my plans, my personal plans with finances. I was expecting to get. I'm not going to get into salaries yet. I'm sure those will become more open when the game is released or more teams start getting signed. But I don't want to go dropping, Sentinel salary and getting roasted on Twitter or something like that. So
no worries.
I had a plan to be making X amount a month, and a lot. Yeah. I don't know how many people do know or how many people don't know. I am technically I'm in school right now. I am working a job for school. I have to work a certain amount of hours. I'm a medical assistant for an allergist's office, but I don't get paid for that. So I'm working 30 hours a week on top of doing all this Halo 5 grinding, which is probably why I haven't been streaming as much. But I'm not getting paid. So I was expecting to be doing this and getting paid from Halo on the side. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it definitely threw a wrench. in a lot of my plans and definitely some other players' plans. I mean, obviously, Cloud9 and NB kind of lucked out. They signed their contracts before it happened, which could have obviously could have been my team had APG not called me. You know, Brad Laws is Brad Laws. He's a great guy, but man, that guy has cucked me like 3 or 4 times over the last 5 years. So I'm just like, I'm at a point where I don't like, I wanna be friends with Brad Laws and I want to support him as a fellow competitor, but I do not want to do any form of business with Brad Laws. And he understood.
It's crazy too, because now where we're at with Halo and esports in general, I mean, if anything, Halo is probably one of the last ones getting there. But being able to, as one of the top pro players and your fellow colleagues, like being able to not only support your life and your lifestyle financially, but live an actual elevated form of lifestyle, aside from the fact that you're playing video games professionally as a career, which is already badass. But the fact that you are, making a significant amount of money on a monthly basis with these orgs and being able to represent something on such a high platform, it's crazy how far everything like that's come in esports, and Halo finally is getting there too. I know we've had in Halo 5 especially was huge, and there's a lot of big orgs in there, obviously yourself included in some of those orgs, but it's only onwards and upwards now with Infinite and the level at which all the production is going to be. So that's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming for Infinite Esports for sure.
So moving forward, I want to ask you a question, and obviously you're going to give it anyways, whether I ask for it or not, but I do want the raw, unedited, like Spartan response. We talked about these top 5 teams that are the top dogs in the scene and have been for a little while. In your opinion, is there anyone else outside of that we should be looking out for coming up?
I mean, there's like a couple of Halo 5 teams right now, right? But I mean, you can only take like Halo 5 in 2020 with a grain of salt. Like it's literally kind of it's meaningless. Like so like let's jump back to these online MCC tournaments. All teams that were actual teams were playing in these. But like you look at Halo 5 and like the only roster that's a real team is Cloud9. Like Envy's team is not playing. Sentinel's full team isn't playing.
That's true.
And Boo Boo's full team isn't playing. You know what I mean?
And now your full team is not playing.
And now my full team is not playing. Like none of it's even real. Like it's literally just like a time killer. So like the only like real teams are like Sentinels, and then there's like the Druck team, which I expect them to be pretty solid in Infinite, just because of the fact that they kept grinding. They grinded a lot of Halo 5 after we all left, and I think that they just probably I wouldn't say refined their game sense or anything like that, but they just refined their individual skill. Like they just got better. So like grinding. that'll carry you, like that grind and work ethic will just carry over into Infinite, and I think they'll be like a good team. But like these Halo 5 tournaments, like if you compare them to like the MCC tournaments that they were doing, like they don't mean anything. And like I don't know. It's just like a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these teams like and players in Halo 5 2020 were not relevant when the game was, if that makes sense. And I don't mean to
when the game's competition right peak levels,
like from 2016 to 2018, a lot of these like current 2020 top Halo 5 players didn't exist because they A, didn't have the confidence, or B, weren't good enough. And they had to keep playing the game after we all left to get good. And that's just being blunt. And I don't see any of these top Halo 5 players continuing that run in Infinite, because when Infinite comes out, it's a new slate for everybody. And there's a lot of top Halo players that have proved they can play every Halo game at the top level, but they've only been able to play this game at the top level in 2020.
And when Infinite drops, obviously you guys are going to be getting the best practice. The top teams will be playing against each other and really extending that skill gap, with playing at that higher level. Whereas it'll be a question mark whether some of these, 5 through 8 teams or less are going to be able to even get that sort of practice to achieve that level of playing. We always see it, right? The gap just gets extended so far, like those first couple months, couple weeks. I mean, I feel like early on Halo 5, we saw talks at the time. They were Optic, CLG. We saw CLG. We saw them like run away early on on, and like there was no catching them. You know,
they steamrolled everybody. They steamrolled absolutely
just
everybody.
insane.
It was everybody was in run for second until eventually people started to catch up. But it took people a while to catch up.
And it took
Looking
changing
back on
settings.
it, I don't know why it took people so long. That
just shows how good of a team that roster is.
It's not to take away from that team at all. Obviously, they're freaking amazing, but like they just like figured out the meta a lot earlier than, or like a lot quicker than everybody. And for some reason, it just took everybody so long to figure out how to play Halo 5.
Yeah,
So.
it's definitely one of those things. I think to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I agree with your points mainly. It is interesting though, because these in between like weird times for Halo, in between seasons or in between games, more the downswing can still be valuable. I mean, even like if we talked about AGL, we were like throwing shade on the Halo 4 days earlier, but it's like if we don't have those AGL times for kids to still grind up their game, like I don't think we have a Spartan the Dog. Like you pretty much shot up through AGL and like use it as practice, right? You got the most out of that time, and so I think there will still be some benefit for the kids that are trying to get the most out of this time in Halo 5, but it's really going to be telling when Infinite drops who's willing to grind and put in the work early on, because all this work will be for nothing if they're not getting ahead right off the rip in Infinite.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in that aspect. There's two points I have to make to that. The first one, you have to take into account, like, yeah, AGL was AGL and Brad was Brad, but we still went to LAN, right? Like, I got a lot of LAN experience out of it, whether it was AGL or not. These players don't have that opportunity. And the second point I'll make is I hope all of these players that are playing right now, whether they're doing good or not, but like the players who are placing well specifically right now, I hope they realize they should not gain any form of ego, because it's only going to hurt them in Infinite when they get reality checked. I think a lot of these players right now are kind of getting big heads, and I mean,
who to say the names?
Who?
I don't. They know who they are. They know.
They know.
I tell them all the time. I honestly tell them all the time. I'm just like,
You told them on Twitter earlier today. I read some tweet about you wiping them eating your ass.
Give me a couple more weeks and you're gonna be here.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the quote. I'm sorry, I gotta read this. I read this and I laughed today. It says, all of these kids who ever stop playing Halo 5 going to be eating my butt crack in 2 more weeks. That's all I'm saying. GG's.
Oh my god.
I read that
What
and
do you
I
have
was
to say
like,
about that, Tyler?
there's 2 things that I want to dissect from that tweet. And
We're going deep dive into the butt crack tweet.
who is it? And do you, from the context, do you want them to eat your butt crack? Or what's going on with that? Because like I wish some bad things on some competition of mine, but never one of that nature. And I thought it was pretty funny, so I figured I'd bring it up here and just give you an opportunity.
I don't really have any reason for the choice of eating my butt crack as work.
Okay.
It was kind of just like
It's
there in my
arbitrary.
mind, you
It's
know. It was
arbitrary.
kind of just like I threw it on the you know, I was typing in, I was like, this sounds good. So, but we lost, like the team that I played with CC commonly in straight sig for the first time today, and we lost against, I think it's like the number 1 LATAM team, which I think is like tapping buttons, who obviously he's proved that he can play on LAN. Like I think his highest placing is like top 6. I think he was on EG or something. But like Otso, I think it was like Otso and like
Atso Drift and
Atso Drift,
Atso Drift and Pelu God. Like no. I'm sorry, just no. I'm gonna leave.
They were talking the talk or what?
I would never. I don't even know. I don't know if they were. I don't think they were talking any shit. I just lost them and I got triggered because I'm just like, if I'm being honest, I would never have lost to those kids when the game was relevant.
Yeah,
Right.
And I mean that's me being a little bit egotistical, but I feel like with the track record I have on Halo 5, I can back that up.
Yeah, I think you've earned the right to kind of. But I also don't think that a loss to them by any means insults or like interrupts your.
It doesn't. I don't take
your
it as
work.
Yeah, I don't take it as an insult in that way. I'm just salty I lost to people I would never have lost to in a relevant environment, if that makes sense. That's just how I am. Like I don't want. Obviously, I hate losing more than I love winning. And I
Mhm.
don't like
There's
to
a
lose.
lot of passion in the butt crack tweet.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a passionate
It stems
person.
from
I say
passion.
some things. I say some things when I lose, and people get triggered over it. I mean, I tweeted the screenshot. I think I played like another. I played Fire and Ice today. They're like the second best lat amp, I think. And I dropped like 24 kills in game one on strongholds, and like nobody else in the game had even 10. And I just like I tweeted a screenshot of it, and I was just like it when you see it, kind of hinting at the fact I dropped 24 kills. And somebody on the other team got super triggered and responded to me. He deleted his tweets. It was the running guy, but he was like, "Learn how to lose." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking?"
Like I won.
I was like, "That's not even relevant to my tweet." And then he's like, "I had a bad day. Enjoy it while it lasts." I'm just like, that's those types of kids. That's what I'm talking about. Like the Halo 5 egos. Like, dude, the running guy
Enjoy it while it lasts.
like Bullet, like the F&I Bullet guy. Like Bullet, I think was pretty relevant back when the game was being played. Like I think he was on that top 6 team, that one LATAM team that got top 6. Like him, he can talk, whatever. Running, like you're an online kid. I've never heard of you until this year when I came back to Halo 5 and dusted off the console. Like
Had to blow the dust out of the cracks.
Those are the type. That's what I'm saying. Like those are the types of Halo 5 kids that got to realize like you got to drop your ego because in Infinite it's only going to hurt you.
Yeah, I think that stipulation goes for everybody when Infinite comes out. It's like whenever a new Halo comes out, it's like everybody. To your point, everybody's starting from page 1, right? And all egos involved. No matter like if you were the best at Halo 3 when Reach came out, like I did not care at all. Like we saw how that final boss roster did after dominating towards the end of Halo 3. Reach comes out and they were good, but they weren't dominant. They weren't like they were a top 6 team. But they even got top 12 the first event. Like that's the wildest thing. So it's like everything is off the tables when a new game comes out. Like I remember at the start of Reach, APG was terrible, and I was like, APG, I love you as a teammate, but if you don't get better, I can't team with you. So it's like even some of the best players in the world just haven't been able to transfer games. And for players that haven't been the best in the world, like you need to be worried about transferring games in general. Like I think everybody that's the best thing about a new game is that like it really does have the potential to just flip the scene on its head at times.
Yeah. I do think we got to talk just real briefly. We kind of mentioned the esports arena tournament that happened today. You guys got top 4. It was awesome to see you kind of bounce back with, straight to commonly Super CC, great guys. But the last qualifier for the Halo 5 Pro Series for this like championship, I guess, happened on Saturday. Wes, there's some pretty surprising results there. I don't know if you saw, Cloud9 was in there in the finals doing their thing. I think they went up against. They went up against Inconceivable. Yeah, you guys cast it. So yeah, you guys walk me through what kind of happened on Saturday. I'm so stupid. I was gone. I'm out of my headspace. But yeah, go ahead. Walk us through how that tournament kind of played out in the end and what you guys noticed.
Yeah, dude, it was an Inconceivable Cloud9 final. It's good to see Cloud9 kind of play to what we know their potential to be to find themselves in the finals. Unfortunately, like they didn't come out really guns blazing in the finals, and actually Inconceivable played extremely well all day. They actually, like, I remember when they first started and we watched their first series, I was like, they're good, but they're not great. But every series they play better and better and better and better. We saw multiple.
They swept Cloud9 in the finals.
Yeah, Inconceivable was playing with Saiyan, right? Is that who they've been playing with?
Saiyan and is bound, Saiyan, Boobadooboo, and Falcated, and they were just making plays, dude. Whether it was anybody on the team actually was making plays. Boobadooboo had a camo play in the Slayer. Falcated just kept winning one-on-ones. I mean, Spartan, you know how good those guys are having teamed with them for so long. They had a hell of a tournament. Sentinels, actually, the storyline of the tournament to me, though, getting upset by Cloud9. Cloud9 swept Sentinels, didn't they?
No, it was 3-1.
No. It was 3-1.
And that stronghold on Eden that they won, the crazy comeback. Cloud9 Sentinels is down 2-0 against Cloud9. They're about to push to a game 5.
They almost pushed it to a game 5. They choked the oddball really bad.
My bet would be Sentinels. Yeah. But
I don't know. The only thing I'm gonna say is that Frosty said to Neptune, "Come to me" 6 times, and Travis didn't listen, and they lost the game. That's all I'm gonna say.
On strongholds, right at the end.
No, it was oddball Eden, and Royal 2 told Neptune to go to the red platform, but then Royal 2 died immediately, And then Frosty was literally like, Trav, come to me, Trav, come to me, Trav, come to me, Trav, come to me. And he didn't. And then he died with the ball, and everything freaking just.
And then they held it there for like 30 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever it was to win the game.
Yeah, it was a bad ending to that oddball for sure.
Yeah. So just to piggyback off what Wes was saying. So for me, the story of the tournament, I wouldn't say the story was set. I guess that's another good one to say. But for me, it was more so Inconceivable winning rather than Sentinels because Sentinels, they made it right to that finish line almost. But when it comes to a best of 5, any given series, I genuinely believe, even though Sentinels is Sentinels and you got to put your money on them, but when you're playing against a very, very solid opponent with Cloud9, I could see them potentially losing that series if things don't go their way. I wish they didn't and Cloud9 won. But then to see Inconceivable, for me, to see them in the finals kind of make such quick work, even though there were some close games in the finals. The score was a 3-0, but I think some of those games could have gone either way. But to see Inconceivable kind of keep their composure the way they did in the finals and win it so handedly, that was kind of an eye opener to let me know again.
Yeah, I wonder, like, to go back to what Spartan was saying earlier about how it's like kind of these like Frankenstein rosters, though. I wonder what that Inconceivable team would be like without someone like Saiyan, because like I mentioned it on the broadcast a couple of weeks ago. I think Saiyan is literally one of the top 3 best players in Halo 5 right now. He just never stopped playing, and he was dropping like 20 bombs and Slayers and stuff. So like, do we give Inconceivable that win like all in, or do we give it with the asterisk of saying they did have kind of a power up with Saiyan playing with them? I don't know. What do you think, Tyler?
I mean, yeah, Eco will have my back on this one. He might not actually publicly say it, but I know he would have my back on this one. A lot of these rosters are just fantasy rosters. The Sentinels team right now is a fantasy roster, not having TJ. And obviously, we all know TJ is one of the best players of all time. He's a phenomenal player. But if you put TJ on that team right now, because TJ would have to come back to the game just like we all did. He'd be rusty. He'd be getting used to heavy aim, blah, blah, blah. Change, like, kind of like adjusting from playing, Reach H2A3. Like, if you put him in place of Neptune, who's been playing, do you see them playing as well as they have been? They've won 4 tournaments in a row. Obviously, they got top 4 this last one, but Neptune's like a fantasy roster player right now, and that's the same thing with Tommy. Like, all of Tommy's team isn't playing Halo 5. You got like APG, Ola, Trippy. Like, Trippy plays here and there, but not with Tommy. And like APG and Pistol aren't playing. They're still just kind of like gaming H3. Like, these rosters aren't like real rosters. So like, I'm not gonna go and blow who like Jesse's full team is, but like obviously Tommy's not their real 4th. But if they were playing with their real 4th right now, they'd probably be getting milli rocked.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think saying, especially online, is one of the more impactful players in Halo 5. Like, I think he really can take over a series. He can do it on LAN, but I think more often I've seen him do it online. It's just a matter of time for him as a player, because I do think he is one of like the probably top 15 players individually in the world right now that competes from an individual standpoint. He still has a lot to learn, but he does pop off in some of these online tournaments.
Of course.
I think when we talk about Sentinels, though, and the comments about TJ, it's like I'm kind of a bias. Like, I'm boys with those guys. It's pretty obvious. But if it would take TJ some time to get back, and,
of course,
that's
the point I was making.
But I can tell you one thing: TJ rotates the ball to red plat. Like, I can tell you that it's not about the individual impact that Neptune can have on a game, because he is a phenomenal when it comes to individual skill style player. But I think what TJ probably does better than Neptune is he plays Halo better than Neptune. Like, he understands when he's the last guy alive that he needs to stay alive. He finds a way to stay alive. He finds a way to get an angle on the flag guy to kill him. He finds a way to help, like, be more productive in a game. He might not have the same slaying impact that a Neptune has in Halo 5. I think that, like, you lose a lot of, like, it might be cliche to say, but you lose a lot of your clutch gene if you're Sentinels. and you lose TJ because TJ is one of the clutchest players in the game. Like,
Yeah.
hardly
Agreed.
ever is he making a wrong play, right?
Yeah. I've always said that about TJ. I've always said TJ is like one of the players that like might get overlooked by how like individually talented his teammates are, but he's literally like the filler and he can do pretty much anything.
If you're overlooking
and,
TJ, you're stupid.
Like you said, like he rarely ever makes the wrong play. I think the point that I was trying to make though is that how bad, like people, I don't think people understand how much of an adjustment it is to go from Halo PC, Halo PC
weeks.
back to Halo 5.
60
and
frames.
like,
with
yeah,
input lag.
TJ could be playing super smart like he always is, but I'm telling you, like, if he were to be playing right now, he just wouldn't be able to shoot straight. And that's just because the game's aim is broken.
That's understood. I just think like at the end of the day, when you play at the level that you guys play at nowadays, it really like who's the better individual player doesn't matter. Doesn't necessarily matter. It's more of like, is everybody making the right decisions? Like, are we a cohesive unit? Is everybody on the same page? Are we able to formulate this push? Like, and do we have good timings together? Are we coordinated? I think TJ brings more coordination, and you in the back of the minds of Snakebite, Lethal, and Royal 2, or Snakebite, Royal 2, and Frosty. It's like what typically is being done by their filler player, and in a sense, may not be the play that they think is being made, or they may think that they have to focus on like that more than they ever have, because TJ's always been that known commodity. They like, you know what TJ's doing. Like, it's not a lot.
It's a lot. We know what they're capable with him. I think more than anything else, it would just matter if TJ's heart was in it. Obviously, I'm glad that he's not playing because he didn't feel like he would be all in on that, and I'm glad that they would rather just play with someone else, give someone else a chance to shine, let Neptune do his thing because he's nasty. He deserves a spot and a time in the spotlight and stuff, and it kind of works out perfectly for them. To quickly kind of wrap things up, so that was the Saturday. Today in the Esports Arena event, I believe it was NV9 that won it. It was kind of a mishmash team that was a mix between NV and Cloud9. They won the Esports Arena tournament today. Friday in the Halo 3 MCC Pro Series tournament, we had H3 team, which was Lethal, APG, the usual gang, repeating. Faisley let me down in the finals, bro. I was rooting for you guys, but they just came out hot, and so they had a good tournament this week. As always, man, it's been awesome every week to have multiple Halo Esports things going down, and people continue to sign up. So make sure you guys are signing up for those Halo 5 open events, the Halo 3 MCC Pro Series open events, and getting involved in the scene. Tyler, Spartan, thank you so much for freaking joining us, man. It's been awesome to have you. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you, where you're streaming, what your Twitter is. Give us the rundown and all your stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Spartan. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Spartan The Dogg with 2 G's. I stream. I haven't been streaming as much, but I try to stream a few times a week, mainly right now just playing Halo 5 because of the obvious Halo 5 tournaments. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, man, we're glad to have you. And you got to let us know in the comments, guys, in the YouTube comments as well as the Twitter comments. Let us know if you're a new Spartan fan after hearing his side and seeing the fire this kid brings, man. We got some awesome rivalries building in the scene. Wes, why don't you close us out of this thing, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Faisal, give them the ads. Let them know where to find you real quick.
Yeah, well, first, I just want to say myself, thank you so much to Tyler, Spartan, for joining us. An amazing interview. We got to take a peek behind the curtain a little bit and see how things were from his side when all that stuff went down with the team changes. And now we got to hear about his new exciting team with RyaNoob, Rain, and King Nick going into Infinite. And I'm sure, they're, like we talked about this whole podcast, they're going to be one of the best teams. Excuse me. So thank you again to Spartan, and you guys can find me streaming at twitch.tv/Goofy. I try to stream every single day, but my stream is more so Halo 3. Every now and then we'll get some Warzone games in, but you can also follow me on Twitter at GGoofy, and that's going to do it from my side of things, Wes.
Hunter, you go real quick.
Yeah, of course. Like I said already, thank you, Tyler. I'm glad that you landed on your feet. Sick roster going in. I'm glad that you brought the RyaNoob mom stories. I think we need more RyaNoob mom stories in the scene.
That was great. That was awesome.
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, both at Hunter_JJX. I'm streaming every day, much like Goofy. It's a lot of Halo 3. It's a lot of Warzone. I've been doing some VR stuff lately, so maybe some VR phasmophobia coming up this week. We'll see how it goes. I'll need to go to therapy after that because that shit is freaking crazy. I played it like for 5 minutes the other night, and I literally ended up like cowering in the corner of my room, like trying to hide from a ghost, and it was the worst. Yeah. It was so scared. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out episode 12. Always, yeah, let us know who you want to see in the comments and what you guys thought. Wes, let's get out of here, bro.
Hey, as we get out of here, I don't care if you follow me on anything. Right now, I want you to go to twitch.tv/Spartan The Dogg with 2 Gs. I want you to check out the stream the next time he's live. Give it a follow. Help the guy out. He doesn't have an org right now, so we got to support our Halo players as best we can during these times. Subscribe, join the doghouse or whatever the subs are. I don't even know.
Some damn respect.
The subs, all right? I actually have a new one refreshed, but you're streaming during a tournament. I don't want to sub to you during the tournament because I like to hear that I get thanked for my $5. But, and I don't want to put that through you during
all right.
I'm waiting, so I'll hit you up with that tomorrow. The kids' production level, actually, Spartan, as we close this thing out, your production level on your stream is insane.
So
I love all the transitions and stuff that you go through.
And the highlights are dope.
The videos I see on Twitter, like Spartan's actually putting out some content here, so I want people to go support him until he can get a good org and represent a great org for Halo for Infinite. Good luck in Infinite, Spartan. I know I'll talk to you before then, but I really am a big fan of your team. I'm a big RyaNoob fan, always have been. We're going to close this episode 12 out. Peace out, guys. Thank you for watching.
Peace.